Okay. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We are at Walsh's lab. This is after the Elysium, and after Marquez has gone off and everything. And Walsh has been pondering for the past couple of nights. He's attempted to address the issue of what happened during Elysium when Duke Hargrove threatened to shove his hand down his throat, and some of the other possible issues that he does see with regards to this state being, if not in shambles, at least under high stress at the moment because of lack of information about security breaches. To that end, while having a drink, he decides while Cynthia's been crashing at his lab to call over Nathaniel Ashford for some counsel and to consult over a few issues. You know, just basically to get a little bit better political understanding from someone who is more political. And with that, he's just musing and, you know, having a drink when he hears a knock at the door.
So it comes on like...
Yep. Harry goes up and opens the door and sees Nathaniel there. Ah, Mr. Ashford, do come in. Sir, I believe it is. Congratulations on your recent promotion.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah. So the reason I called you here was twofold. Number one, your girlfriend, Cynthia, here has been crashing at my place. I kind of gave her too many shinies, and that kind of backfired a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry about that, Nathaniel. But the second reason I called you over here is because I need some advice on of a political nature, and I figure that you being a member, at least a member of good standing here, and having been recently promoted to knighthood, would be able to better give me the political lay of the land than anyone else. And especially considering we're going to be partners on a quantum computer for the Nosferatu, I figured your counsel would be best of all, at least on these issues. Josh? Okay. Oh, phone call. Okay. Well, meanwhile, Nathaniel sits there and ponders, and Harry basically goes over to his quantum computer and starts twiddling some numbers. And I'm going to try to track Hargrove using the quantum computer specialty. So this is going to be 10 dice, and this will be the first attempt at trying to track Duke Hargrove's whereabouts. And since I can't do anything with the information right now because our illustrious out of character, our illustrious administrator is currently not available to play the parts I need him to play, I'm going to just simply run the quantum computer. This is just a routine checkup and also attempt at checking Hargrove's location. Rolling 10 dice. The one success neutralizes the 9. Neutralizes one of the 9s, but assuming that my character had his cell phone number and is tracking the cell phone based on its location thing, should be 3 successes at difficulty 7. But that just gives us a preliminary area of roughly where he is. Again, that information can be filled in at a later point. It's not hyper important right now. It's just more to ping and test that I can locate him. So, with that in mind, Harry calls over Nathaniel and says, "So, while you were busy with that phone call there, I wanted to. While you're busy with that phone call to whoever, I was taking a ping of our currently Duke Hargrove's location. I have a rough idea as to where he is, but let me back up. Do you remember last Elysium when Duke Hargrove threatened to shove my hand down my throat when I raised my hand a third time, trying to address his concerns about security?
Yes, sir.
I would like your opinion on this, and maybe I jumped too far. Did you also see my resolution, the open letter that I sent to the kindred community to address some of the political concerns that I thought were present?
Well, yes, the prince being under obvious strain and some sort of exhaustion. I understand wanting to fill in the power brackets, fill in the position of Keeper of Elysium. Do you have anyone in mind? Is there any sort of idea?
Yeah, well, I kind of did. The reason I originally proposed myself was largely because of the fact that I wanted to expand the powers of Keeper of Elysium, specifically to be able to keep the keep the court in check, so to speak. Just because of the fact that we're all highly strained. As far as I can see, there was a borderline breach of Tradition 6 by Duke Hargrove. This whole thing has just been. I think this whole thing has gone out of proportion. Of course, you saw the utter fiasco that caused. So the first thing I'd like your opinion on is, what would you say if I attempted to reformat the proposal that I had as, say, 3 or 4 proposals to address not only the power bracket, but also to try to take stress off the council. And specifically, what would you say if I tried to back you for the position of Keeper of Elysium?
I don't know if that would be a conflict of interest or any sort of inconvenience to the court. I don't believe so, as a knight is more of a hand to a duke and an advisor, kind of like a consigliere to a mafia don. But I would have to check and make sure it wouldn't be a conflict of interest, but might as well. I mean, that would allow me to claim a swath of domain as Alesia, so that would be fine.
Now, the second thing I wanted to get your opinion on was that, given the fact that we've had some issues with regards to, I don't know if you saw the last dialogue that I had, but Duke Hargrove basically used an ad hominem attack and insinuated that I was in fact a member of the enemy, attempting to not only do a power grab, but attempting to do an information steal for the enemy during that, when I proposed that resolution originally. I have an idea. I have an idea regarding Duke Hargrove. He's becoming a bit of a pain in my ass. Initially I thought he was just under stress, but now I'm beginning to realize.
Let me ask you another question, since you posed this question. To exonerate yourself from making a power grab and an information steal for the enemy, you're basically going to use another kindred of bait, thereby making it look like you were doing what you claimed you were doing all along.
Which is, well, effectively, I am going to be doing what I was planning to do all along. The only real difference is that I just basically hasten along what would have otherwise naturally happened.
I know, but you see the borderline kind of hypocrisy of this little plan. Not saying it's a bad idea. Yeah. I'm saying that if we're going to try and use a gangrel as bait, we need to either make sure that, 1, there is absolutely no way he finds out that any of us were involved, and 2, make sure none of the humans can be tortured, intimidated, broken into pieces till they spill their guts on the anonymous tip, because I'm pretty sure he would be able to smell the width of advanced technology and computer tracking on you.
Well, weird as this may sound, my thought is, and this is precisely where my thought process is. And again, how to frame this and how to spin this is where I'm hoping to go with this. Is that if we set this up correctly, that Duke Hargrove is used as bait, and we actually managed to trap members of the Seven. My hope is that the members of the Seven will still be alive enough that we can actually get them for information. We can actually use them for information to track back who their leaders are and be able to capture them that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what the point is, that to do this work, we would need them alive in order to be able to, dominate and break them, in order to be able to find out who their leaders are, and from that be able to know where to strike next.
Fair enough. Now, you have a line of connection to these 7 people. What else do you know about them?
All that I know is that they primarily quote scripture. That's when I mentioned to you a while back that I suspected hunters.
Yeah.
The reason I suspected hunters is because of the fact the text conversation I had with them actually actually incorporated a large number of scriptural references on their end.
Mm. So you're thinking Westboro Baptist Church formed a hunter group?
Kind of, something along those lines. But again, it's only my suspicions. I can't really prove anything right now until we actually get our hands on a member of the Seven or one of their servants. And for that, we need to be able to draw them out. And the only method I can think of is to provide a high-profile member of the community. The only one I can think of is to provide a high-profile member of the community to volunteer themselves as bait, and from that be able to, draw out the Seven that way. We basically set a trap. They come in planning an ambush of a particular one of our kind, when in reality we've set an ambush for them when they don't expect it.
A little bit of a warning. Mm-hmm. There are other forces in this state going on besides the local kindred community. There's already a hunter group led by a very giant, frightening individual that goes by a name that I won't mention here. But they have nothing to do with the Seven as far as I can figure, other than being part of a local Freemason chapter. Now, this being said, what I would advise, rather than using a scary, possibly centuries-old vampire as bait and having him eviscerate all of them, and possibly leave one alive to question and or break into a mindless puddle of jelly, we trek this out carefully, see exactly what we can find out. Perhaps use what we know about Hargrove, his fear of technology, to kind of get him a bit skittish and ready to jump. But, smaller steps. I mean, if you're trying to politically undermine him, you're going to have to prove that he's not effective at his job. I would suggest more dirt, more politics than covert ambush, because this is getting into CIA territory. And the problem is, with people like me and the Gangrel clan in question, we tend to be very bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the traditional sense, you understand, but more as a very fast regeneration. Anyway, now.
I understand.
I heard none of this. I am not going to say a word. You do owe me something, but I will settle for, like I said, a small little thing. I'll even see what I can do about enhancing your firewall on your computer, because I am a very notable, very good hacker, and I'm very good at my job. But, like I said, I want a small version that I can use as my personal computer, because it's more advanced hardware than what we got now. I would give you an edge.
How about I do you one better? And with that, I'm going to roll intelligence. I'm going to roll intelligence computers, specialty quantum computers on your phone again.
Mm-hmm.
The original piece of hardware that I gave you was phase 1, says Harry. This is phase 2. This is phase 2 of the technique. And with that, I have 1, 2 successes. That'll be enough. And I'm actually going to basically what happened is that your Nathaniel receives a note, a ping on his phone, and when he looks at it, he actually sees member of VPN blank blank blank, and Harry says, understand that I still have administrator privileges and can see everything you're doing with it. So basically, this is conditional. That basically, if you abuse this technology, I will automatically revoke your access. But for now, you have access to my quantum computer.
Oh no, I'm not going to abuse it. Now,
until such time as I can make a smaller version, consider yourself a user on this network.
All right, and with
computer specialty for your computers, by the way.
All right, and he'll kind of line up to the keyboard and see what kind of antivirus, what kind of firewall you're running on this thing.
This is, like I said, because of the fact that my character has a specially home-built version of antivirus. This is literally a home-built thing that my character's devised.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can set the difficulty for the hack here, but he's just basically trying to soup it up a little bit.
Okay. With the soup up, I'm going to put this at a difficulty 8. Sorry, if you were actually trying to actively crack past the firewall, it would be difficulty 9. If you're trying to improve the firewall, it will be difficulty 8.
All right. Well, that's good because I have computer aptitude, so it would be back down to difficulty 6. But okie dokie doke.
Yeah. So that's the difficulty. So for you, difficulties 6 and 7 respectively.
Okay. So going to spend the willpower on this and gonna make the roll. Woo boy, that's 5 successes.
Oh yeah, that easily boots the firewall a little bit higher.
Mm.
So we now have with the firewall with the 5 successes now, plus the home firewall that I'm setting up this at. I'm going to roll a intelligence computer. I'm going to roll an intelligence computers just to set a couple more security parameters. This is going to literally set this so that only members of the network, only members of the sub VPN, which is masked by the quantum computer itself, can actually access this quantum computer. And I'm going to use your 5 rolls for souping up the firewall. I'm going to use your 5 successes to piggyback on top of what I'm doing.
All right.
So with that in mind, one of my 10s got neutralized. But because of the fact that I'm not cracking the firewall, I'm the master controller.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the master controller, I get difficulty 6 on this, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. Which literally means, and I'm going to make a note for this for anyone else who's trying to do this. Anyone who actively tries to hack the quantum computer is going to require at least 9 successes at a difficulty 9 to be able to crack this.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You know, we set basically because of the way that it works, it's going to have to be 9 successes at difficulty 9 or higher to be able to crack this quantum computer.
All right.
So yeah, with the two of us combined on this. Now note there is one other possibility. There is a possible way around this. Says Harry to your computer. Says Harry to you guys. Now the thing is, the firewall is tied in through the phones. But if our phones get lost for any reason, we should have them set to. We should put some stuff on to reset our phones to factory settings, just so this way they can't access the quantum computer through there.
Mm-hmm. And with that, he'll make another hack to actually set a whitewash system on his phone.
And I'm going to do the same.
If he doesn't recharge it within 3 nights and input a specific sequence of numbers, he's going to basically reset it. All right, and this is a basic, computer programming thing. That would be 1. I'm gonna say go out in 3 successes because that's pretty standard stuff.
Yep.
14.
And using the quantum computer specialty on my phone because of the tie-in with the slave network, I have 4 successes on there because I was using specialty quantum computers. But basically, by using the same technique, 4 successes on mine to whitewash my phone for the setup. And basically, if we do for mine, because mine is the master controller for the because mine is the master slave controller for the quantum computer, if my character does not every single night enter basically if every night my character does not enter a particular password, and I must do this once per scene if I'm doing 1 scene per night, or we'll just say that my character does it off scene, but at least once per scene my character must enter a series of numbers in order to be able to handle that. There's also a password. I'm also going to set up a separate password that my character must enter in order to be able to hack the machine as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on the phone. And okay, 2 successes got neutralized, but luckily there's still. Hang on, let me kill the 9s. Let me kill the 8 and the 9 just to make sure that I noted which ones get killed. But that's still 1, 2, 3, 4 successes to build a password. The ability to crack the password is going to be the same as the quantum computer because of the fact that it's a slave to the quantum computer. So it's still going to be 9 successes at difficulty 9 to crack that password.
All right.
This is actually being generated by the quantum computer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's 9 successes to crack to crack his slave terminal is the same as trying 9 successes at difficulty 9 to be able to crack that password.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if I don't hit the particular string of numbers once per scene, if my character doesn't do it, that phone will reset back to factory settings, and my character will have to reset everything again from there.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ashford will look back up from his phone. You're an engineer, and I'm going to need some small things.
Yes.
I am going to be moving into Appalachia, which is a very dangerous territory. I'm not going to get into why, but it's closer to some of those outside forces that I mentioned.
Appalachia. Is that in relation anywhere to the is that anywhere in relation to where the Guru hang out by any chance?
Yes, the mountain, the territory dividing line. Yes, we don't go anywhere near that mountain. We just kind of stick to our little district city right there. And so what I'm going to do is have you build my residence to kind of withstand a little extra punishment, if you understand what I mean. I do not do anything to antagonize these people. I actually have an understanding, but I don't want any chances taken. I have enemies in the kindred community as well.
Understood. I'm going to roll intelligence occult followed by intelligence technology specialty engineering, because we're going to draw up some blueprints for your. We're going to draw up some blueprints for your characters for Nathaniel's new place. But because of that fact, I need to know. I need to use my intelligence occult to remember what sort of strength levels a Guru has, and then to be able to set them higher than that.
That's a bit of a. It's a bit difficult to know as a kindred, but
well,
I mean,
out of character, you don't know this, but my character has special inside knowledge about that.
Okay, so you're good.
Yeah. So 5 dice specialty prodigy being used from the intelligence specialties. The 10 got neutralized by the 1, but I still have 2 successes. So that'll give me a rough estimate for what the strength of a Guru is. My character can extrapolate roughly what the strength is. He can't get it down to a precise level because there's going to be varying degrees as well. So we'll attribute that to it. Followed by intelligence engineering specialty, intelligence technology specialty engineering, to provide you with a blueprint that you can have contractors build accordingly. And I'm also going to have the quantum computer assist on this. So I'm going to make the roll, and then I'm going to have the quantum computer do a roll afterwards to be able to correct any mistakes I've made in the blueprint. And crap. So my specialty got knocked out. So the 10 and the 8 got knocked. That's 2 successes. That's still 2 successes that I make here for this. And okay, so given what I need, given what I know, that's 2 successes. So my character is a rough blueprint that he's drawn up, and he goes, hang on, let me have the quantum computer look at this as well. Intelligence computer specialty quantum computer, followed by a second intelligence technology roll to enhance the to have the computer basically use my knowledge for me. This is the intelligence computers to program it. That is so this is the roll to program my computer with my knowledge. That's 3 successes to program the quantum computer to be able to build the blueprint. And finally, I'm now rolling intelligence technology specialty engineering for the computer. And this will be added to my successes to give you the total net number of successes accordingly. By the way, I should mention, because that we're doing a rolling success, this is taking about an hour, maybe a little more.
Yep.
Yeah, taking about an hour or 2. And for this one, the 10 got neutralized, so the specialty is out. But the quantum computer now has done an extra 1, 2, 3 successes. So between me and the quantum computer, between myself and between Harry and the quantum computer, you have 5 successes over the course of an hour to build you a relatively well-structured compound.
Yep. So what Ashton will do now is he'll kind of line up to the computer and use his phone's camera to take pictures of exactly what the computer readout of the blueprint is.
Actually, that's not a problem. I'm not even going to have to roll for this because I'm assuming it's just an email. My character literally just emails the blueprints to you.
All right.
And just actually sends them over the VPN, so this way your phone has a copy of the blueprints. I think this should give you a starting point, Nathaniel. We should be able to go from there.
Thank you, sir. Also, I believe it was vaguely mentioned something about tunnels in the sewers. I don't want to overstep my bounds, but as I am kind of the left hand of the Nazis at the moment, I want to kind of at least have you look in on the tunnels and make an estimate as to what you would need and, structural integrity and all that.
Do you have blueprints of the tunnels as they currently are constructed, so I can know what I'm looking at? Because otherwise, I'm flying without some specifications. I am kind of flying blind here.
I will gladly acquire those for you. As a matter of fact, once I get a hold of Mr. DeVee very soon. But right now, I have no idea myself. I am just getting acclimated to the sewers. Got my own little lazy boy in my own little office down there, but that's about it.
Okay, well, because of the fact that we are talking about the flooding level, we are talking about flooding during rainy season. I have been working on something, and with that, I'm going to roll another intelligence technology specialty engineering. This is going to require reformatting, which means a secondary roll at the time when I actually get access to the tunnels. But okay, 10 got neutralized, but that's still 3 successes. I'm going to attribute the only 3 successes due to the fact that we had a limitation of the limitation from not being able to see the actual specs. But my character says what you're looking at here is the classic airlock system, airlock, or in this case waterlock. Basically, the plan is that by using this technique, we can pump out the. Are you familiar at all with the classic lock system for how ships transfer from lower water areas to higher water areas?
System of bilge pumps, that kind of thing? Water pressure?
Yes. Well, basically, my thought is that we actually use the airlock system as something. We use basically a kind of mix between an airlock and a classic lock as being a method for being able to pump the water out of the area. So basically, a tunnel gets flooded. You move into the airlock. The doors close behind you. Then what happens is that basically the water gets pumped out of the tunnel and the air from the airlock gets pumped in. Then the doors open and the pressure is equalized to the point where you can move in accordingly. Basically, and I'm thinking of basically a kind of a pump, an ongoing pump system through the tunnels should be able to address the problem if I can work.
Ashford holds up one delicately manicured finger. After hearing Cynthia's voice, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Dear lady, you must understand that your welcome down in the sewers, while warm, is somewhat provisional. Be careful about overstepping your boundaries. I don't mind you occasionally visiting, but remember, I left you my house in the Charlotte area for a reason.
Yeah, but I get so lonely. It's weird here. Plus, he gives me shiny things. Like the shiny things.
He looks at you a bit nonplussed.
Yeah. What can I say? I had a number of synthesized artificial diamonds for another project I was working on. I was planning on actually originally converting them into diamond cuts. The hyperfine coarse stuff for diamond saw blades. But since I already had them, I figured I might as well give a couple to Cynthia, just as kind of a nice gesture, and it kind of backfired. What can I say?
Well, you can't fault a man for trying. Anyway, so I have to catch up with Mr. John Taylor. I also have a few things to do, but if the lady is not causing you any great inconvenience, feel free to enjoy her. He looks kind of scaling her up and down. Company for a bit longer, if you don't mind. I mean, I'm not imposing on you. I'll gladly just kind of, whatever.
Yeah, no worries. As long as she doesn't fiddle with any of my experiments, everything's fine. Just
all right.
I don't want her involved in that. I don't want her involved in that. But like I said, I think she understands not to touch any of the sensitive technical equipment because I'm still working on that. I've also got a. I've also been looking into something else for Harry Walsh, but sorry, for Harry Wallace, but sorry, out of character. In character I did say Harry Wallace. I just had a memory flood out of character. I just had a memory mix. Anyway, back in character. I do have some. I do have some design plans for Sir Wallace, but I can't seem to get a hold of him right now. He's a little preoccupied at the moment. So is David, ironically.
Toreadors are usually notoriously driven and at the same time flighty. They tend to chase their inspirations and their passions, and then when they're done chasing, they get back to business as usual.
Yeah. As for David, though, I've been having difficulty getting a hold of Red Owl.
No, well, don't worry. You're talking directly in his left ear. Everything that you need to say, you can say to me, and it will get to him.
Yeah, well, like I said, just David, if you're listening in at this at a later point, could you? I need to be able to get a rough idea of what some of your. I need to get some specifications on your tunnels, so this way I can actually present you with a better design plan for the airlock system for the tunnels, and actually give you a bid as to what they're going to cost.
See, I was being a good Ventru. I didn't tell your plans. I just was having an independent contractor look at them. He's actually flipped out his phone and made a little video trying to explain what he's doing down here.
Well, like I said, and as an independent contractor, also that is another thing. Nathaniel, as you're the knight now of David or of Red Owl, I want to actually run an idea by you and see what you think. We've been trying to worry about the. I'm thinking that we actually merge my solar panel technology, the plant-based solar panels that I showed the demonstration for. Mm-hmm. What if we actually use those to power the pumping system? The reason I propose that is because of the fact that plant matter. That's if the solar panels happen to be in little areas that look like park type areas or trees that are just sprucing up the neighborhood, nobody will actually look askance. Whereas a conventional solar panel would look remarkably odd in the city center to be used for powering pumps on the tunnels.
I like it. It's covert. It's quiet. No one's going to guess too much. I think it has potential, but I'll run it by the boss definitely.
Well, while you're working on that, let me actually run up a specification for you. 2 seconds here. I'm just gonna run another model on this and actually see if I can make it work. This is just a wiring job. It shouldn't be too difficult, but better safe than sorry.
Yep. At this point, he takes a cigar cutter from his jacket pocket and just kind of removes what looks to be a 20-year-old Cuban. And just kind of, this was pre-embargo. We can't really blame you for that.
Yeah. 2 successes. So Harry takes a look at his original design plan for the airlocks and basically goes, "Yeah, again, it looks like I can do something here, but again, it would be a lot better if I actually had the technical specifications of where the city, where the tunnels were. If we knew which tunnels were being donated, one for each district." If I knew precisely where the tunnels were and what was overhead, I would be able to plot this considerably better.
Oh, don't worry about it. I will get you those prints. It was just a question of, running by and seeing if you were willing to do the job. But yes, of course.
I mean, like I said, I can give you a bid, and again, don't get me wrong. I'm not promising any miracles here because again, I don't know the specifications of the area. So do bear in mind these are only rough drafts anyway. There may be obstacles that I haven't. There may be obstacles like God forbid, like crossing a sewer line or a gas line, or somebody's house might be in the way, so I can't actually put the solar panel tech where I need it to be. There are any one of a number of possible glitches which may get in the way of actually being able to make this come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So,
I understand entirely, and trust me, when you work in intelligence ring, I know that a lot is circumspection, so it's okay.
All right. Well. Yeah, just kind of a thing to watch for, basically. In the meantime, so what I'll do then is fair enough. You can get back a hold of Red Owl, and let him know that I need to talk to him directly, so this way I can run some technical or you get the specs from him and hand them to me, and I will. You get the specs from him and hand them to me, and I will take care of drafting up something and giving you at least a bid and a blueprint.
Gladly.
I will be withholding certain sections of the blueprint, certain key elements, because of the fact that if I do not want to give everything over until such time as my bid has been accepted.
Now, I wanted to pose a possible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because no offense, you do seem, while very intelligent, slightly politically out of your depth, that I possibly give you a bit of a hand there, give you a little bit of political knowledge for some of this posthumous engineering work, because I know it's going to require a good amount of money, and I know the Nosferatu with their information business are doing quite well, but, shaving a little bit off the top never hurt anyone.
I suppose it's just the thing is I'm one of the big things that's bothered the hell out of me is other engineers in the kind world who have often well, let's put it this way: engineers get hired for a particular contractors or engineers get hired for a particular job, right? Well, there are some contractors out there who have provided kickbacks to the kind politicians in exchange for the building contract, or have deliberately underbid, and as a result, the quality of the project doesn't work out well.
Yeah,
these people are considered a blight on the engineering profession because of the fact that the first major aspect of engineering is to make sure not only do no harm, but also make sure that lives are saved.
No problem.
And since the whole point is that lives are on the line with any engineering project of this sort, I would rather not.
Oh no, you're not understanding me. I'm not planning to undercut you. I was simply planning to scratch your back in return for this help. Now,
okay. Okay, let me rephrase that. Okay, I misunderstood you. I apologize. What I meant was I thought you wanted me to underbid on this particular project.
Oh no.
Or to overbid and then steal money accordingly.
Trust me, this isn't Russia. That period in my life was a long time ago. Honestly, no, I don't do that sort of thing. I've really tried to go straight. It's just harder to do with people always trying to drag you back into the Shark Tank.
Yeah, no, I understand. No, that bit I do understand. I have met some of the engineering projects I've worked on were less than stellar. Thankfully, like I said, back during my early environmental days when I was actually trying to get windmill technology widespread across the United States, which failed horribly, as you can tell. Unfortunately, this was back during when remember back during the 70s and 80s energy crisis. Yeah, part of the reason the windmill spread was yours truly. Unfortunately, that didn't go over so well because, let's just say that certain politicians that I was trying to lobby at the time wound up getting bigger contributions from the fossil fuel pushers. I won't get into that right now. That's a whole other story I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, that was probably some of my sire's buddies, to be honest. Gabriel works for the IRS. He's got his fingers in a lot of pies, and he helps a lot of immortals cover their funds. But, yes, I understand power blocks. And this is why I'm willing to help you with the Gangrel power block. I have my own little issues with a certain member of that particular clan, but I'm not going to make any moves unless I have the ammunition to finally shoot that deer dead. Now, it was an honor to help you. He kind of sketches a bit of a courtly bow, and now he glances at the clock, just kind of getting a rough approximation of what the time is, because I know it's probably been a...
I'm sorry, you've got work to do, and here I am trying to embroil you in all of my engineering plot lines and stuff. Actually, where are you headed? What's your next major work? Perhaps I can be of help. You never.
You know what? I was looking for investment opportunities in Appalachia, but the problem is I have a slight handicap with motorized vehicles. I either need to invest in a racing team or I don't know. Anyway,
you said a handicap. What is the exact nature of the handicap, and what are the limits on motorized vehicles that you are allowed?
I don't know if you've ever heard of a geas, this sort of a blessing curse kind of a thing.
Hang on, let me roll intelligence occult to actually see if I know this. 6 dice. 1 success. I vaguely heard of what they are.
Now, I basically had something like that levied against me by the alpha of the local werewolf community to not own, operate, use, or receive transport in one of those things. Basically, I abided by this ruling and I was rewarded with a little bit of help. But even so, traveling in that particular style, I can only go about 50 miles per hour, and it does consume a bit of time. So I'd rather not take too many risks. But yes,
Well, you said you have a limitation with regards to motorized vehicles. Bicycles count. Any electric? Does anything electrically powered also fall into this GS?
See, the problem is it would have to be non-motorized. You would have to find some sort of a way around that kind of thing.
That I might be able to help you with.
Hmm.
I am of Clan Bruges, after all.
That might be a good idea.
Well,
What's the plan?
Well, specifically, I have one of 2 possible options that can help you. The first one is actually, that technically counts as a motorized vehicle. Air-based vehicles would be a problem. The first one I could think of is, you said engine-based, right?
Yes.
What if I gave you a controlled airship? Rocket-based airship.
Well, it doesn't technically have a motor.
Yeah, so the first thing is, my first thought is that could be the first option. Option 2, for something more practical, if you need your bicycle to go a little faster, is I could give you, I could teach you how to enhance your strength, shall we say?
Well, strangely enough, I was looking for a teacher in that particular art because of, like I said, certain political adversaries of mine are more the brawn over brain type.
Yeah, I've met a few of those in my time. Sadly, those types are difficult to reason with, and a number of them I've had to wind up using the appeal to force fallacy to get them to listen for long enough to handle reason. But I'm not going to get into that right now.
Yeah.
So tell you what would you say? And Harry basically flips a knife open and puts it towards his hand and says, "What would you say? I would be willing to offer you a 1 dot only blood bond temporarily, so this way you could learn the first level of potence. In exchange, I would be asking for your help on drafting all future political documents that I need. Specifically, that when I come up with an idea, you're the one who helps me with the writing of it, so that this way it can actually be presented properly to the court."
Certainly. Just phrasing of certain words, yeah.
Well, phrasing of certain words, being able to write them simplistically enough that people like Duke Dannington will actually be able to look at them and understand what they mean. This kind of thing.
I understand you completely there. Perfectly.
Yeah.
So, with this in mind, Nathaniel will pretty much take the knife and kind of just gently slice into the forearm, just a little bit, trying not to inflict damage, but
No, I know. My character actually sliced his own hand. Actually, he takes the knife and slices his own hand before you get to that, and basically holds up the bit so you can take a point of blood and be able to and learn the so this way you can learn the potence. Actually, as you're doing it, Harry says, "Matter of fact, hang on. Luckily for me," and with that, he literally drops a punching bag from the ceiling. Engineered punching bag in his own lab. There are times he has to take out the stress, remember?
Yep. Rolling for the level of the bond out of character. And it's a 7. Alright, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, well, my character's highly up. My character also has presence, which may be manipulating the bond a little bit, but not intentional. But yeah, anyway, so a 7-level blood bond. My character basically says, not to worry, it's only 1 point, though, so it should pass in relatively quick time. My character says, "Okay, now here's the thing. Now that you've taken my blood," he drops the punching bag. "Now, what do you know about physical fighting?"
Absolutely nothing. I was a Victorian man. That's the funny thing. I have a lot of physical strength. I've worked all my life in construction, taking care of a house full of women, which was basically a bordello, a brothel. But, physical combat was kind of frowned upon by the gentry class. So,
That's a story I'm going to have to tell you at some point. Do you want to know how I met my sire?
Sure, why not?
I was actually in a bar one night having a little too much to drink, and my sire actually walked up and got into a debate with me over Einstein's general theory of relativity of all things, of Einstein's theory of relativity of all things. I pointed out I took the side of Einstein's theories. He was a pure Newtonian. He was a pure Newtonian all the way thing. I tried to explain that there were. I tried to explain the reasons why Einstein's theory worked, and he said, "Well, what do you know? You're just a first-year physics student." That kind of made me snap, and I decked my sire across the face and walked and stormed out of the bar. The next thing I know, I'm waking up. As a kindred.
Definitely an interesting way into the world, so to speak.
Yep, and like I said, he forced me the next 10 years to spend teaching me philosophy, so this way I wouldn't slip into that whole decking somebody across the face again at a later point. 10 years philosophy. But I won't get into that now. Anyway, so yeah, the first thing I'm going to need to do, this is where I pull up my character sheet, because I need to pull up my character sheet so I know exactly which dice I'm rolling. Now, I'm also going to roll 2 dots of potence into this, so this way I can roll them as extra dice for strength. This is going to be. Hang on, let me look up very well stats here. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Stats. So that's going to be. Okay, so my strength. Okay, 3 strength. Where did I put the brawl? I could have sworn I gave myself brawl.
You probably did.
Here we go.
Are you looking at the rough draft version or the finished?
No, I'm looking at the text version because unfortunately my character sheet version has certain stats missing, or certain labels for the stats missing when they transcribe the stuff. So it's going to be 5 dice. 5 dice for strength brawl. Add another 3 dice for potence, so that's 8 dice. I'm not counting my potence as successes. I'm counting it as I'm trying to pull my punches, so I'm not counting them as automatic successes because that would literally break the break the punching bag. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll strength brawl. Plus my 3 potence, and I'm going to literally try to do a shot at the punching bag, a left jab, and I'm pulling the punch a little bit here. So, oh boy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Bam!
Bam! You see a dent in the punching bag. It's not enough to break it for sand to fall out, but it is a sizable dent. Yes, and dust is falling down off the ceiling. All right, now you try.
All right. He'll actually kind of line up and just rolling straight strength since he has absolutely no brawl. We'll see how this goes.
And this
2 successes. He, actually lands a pretty good solid punch, but he has no formal technique whatsoever, so you can tell it's just brute arm strength. That's all he's literally putting behind it.
Yeah. He says, not bad, but more when you're doing this, you want to take it more of a scientific approach here. You're trying to apply all arm strength. You want to literally turn from the hip. Like, you want to apply your body. You literally want to turn your... Well, it's literally put some weight behind it, but you want to turn your entire body into a missile that's focused directly at the fist. Again, and I'm going to roll a second. 8 dice to punch the punching bag, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. Yeah, punching bag. Punching bag, because of the fact that my character has also been using Potence 3 behind this, literally it flies off its hook and goes careening into the other wall as my character applies a right cross behind the he basically goes jab jab cross and applies a right hook directly into the punching bag that goes sailing and hits the wall, and there's a bit of a sizable dent in the wall. At this point, a security guard happens to walk through, knocks on the door. Harry pops out, explains the situation, just minor blow up in the lab, closes the door again, and goes, "I've really got to learn not to. I got to remember to pull my punches a little bit better." Takes the punching bag, physically goes, puts it back on his hook again. Now you try.
All right. Well, nice job, Dr. Banner, but let's see how Immortal stacks up. All right. And, well, the 10 got canceled, but that would have counted as 2 successes because he does have arms like a blacksmith, basically. He's got, like, 24-inch pythons for a freaking Ventru, which is a completely out-of-character thing. He basically is just kind of, like, miming the basic technique, and he kind of slips and pops his head on the floor.
Yeah, it's just, Harry comes and pulls you up and says, "Let's try that one more time."
All right. One more go.
Since you failed, you'll be rolling at an increased difficulty, so it'll be difficulty 7 now for you.
All right.
That's the thing the admins have always told me, is that if you get a fail at a particular point and want to re-roll, you re-roll at a higher difficulty.
All right. He'll just kind of stand up to his feet, kind of scramble a little bit, and then boop. Okay. And dang, the ones are just better than me.
Okay, so you'll have to re-roll at a difficulty 8. My character goes, "Okay, hang on. Let me hold the bag steady for you. Let me hold the bag steady for you. And I'll let me show you one more time, and then I'll hold the bag steady for you. Okay?" And my character rolls again the 8 dice, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5 successes. Dust falls from the ceiling again, and the bag starts to swing. Harry literally holds the bag, and basically, after doing that, basically says, "Okay, I'm holding the bag. Now you give it a try, just like I showed you, from the hip."
Oh, of course. Yeah. He lines up, kind of mimics the basic technique, and for this time, he's really fighting against his European aesthetic, so he's burning a willpower. This is forcing himself to do something he never thought he would do. So, and that's 3 successes. Well, because of the 10, it's 2 plus with the willpower, so yeah, 3. So
nice.
You start seeing legitimate force being generated. He actually shows some promise for the foreseeable future, and it swings back.
Yeah.
Rather convincingly, but just for mortal strength, pretty impressive.
Yeah. No. Harry says, "Good again," and literally holds the bag there.
All right, let's see what I can do here. And well, he basically mimics it, does it at the same time, but he's more jab, kind of playing around a little bit. So the 6 still counts, but it's not so much of the same ferocity. You can tell he was focusing on a target. He seemed to be kind of flashing back there for a second.
All right. Harry says, "Let's give it one last try and then call it quits, because I can tell you're starting to get a little tired out here."
Mm-hmm. And in this moment in time, he's just sort of focusing back, remembering, and then he lines up to the bag, holds up his fist, and he basically burning another willpower because, yes, this is a kind of a thrill for him, but he's also having to fight against his nature, the Victorian honor code that's been built into his brain. So yeah, that's why I'm burning these. Glad I did though, because 2 successes. So basically, he remembers that night when he briefly clashed knives on Mr. Jack the Ripper and BAM! Knocks the freaking guy's teeth up one last time, and then he's back in the present.
Well, that's okay, Harry. I had to do training on him too.
Harry says, "Not bad. With a few more, come back for a few more rounds, and we'll try on the bag again at a later point." you may actually be able to get something out of this. So, out of character note for the admins who are watching this. This video counts towards experience both for getting 1 dot of potence because he's training himself up to it, but also 1 dot of brawl because of the fact that he's also training the same way.
Yep. Like I said, because of his training and his aesthetics, he had to basically force himself to do something completely new.
Yep. But like I said, we'll see how this plays out. In the meantime, you said, Harry, that you've had well, like I said, Harry, I'll send you a couple of rough drafts of what it is that I have in mind at a later point, and then we can talk details about how to actually word these proposals so the council will actually listen. I'm hoping that you'll be, like I said, I'm probably going to run 2 proposals, one of which is going to be the expanding the powers of Elysium Keeper, and the second one of which is also going to be a position infringed, a proposal that will literally be held on the Dukes and the Prince. But basically, I'm thinking once the Keeper of Elysium has been appointed, any 2 infractions or borderline infractions of breaking a tradition that are noted by the Keeper of Elysium, I was actually going to say either 2 major breaches of etiquette or breaches of or bordering on breaches of tradition, that particular member of the peerage have a proxy that work for them, and then they take a vacation for 2 meetings. Basically, the reason I want to do this is this way. Basically, I want to make sure this is there, so this way for lack of a better word, the court is not overworked. In other words, I want Sam and others to be able to have a break.
Makes perfect sense for me. The man was looking a bit careworn. I'll do what I can about forming a rough draft and kind of rephrasing that politely. And
well, take a look at my you probably got a copy of the open letter that I sent out, didn't you? Well, if you could, you saw Dannington's response about wanting that broken into smaller parts. If you could do me a favor, take a look over that and help me figure out a way to break that. Like I said, if we could go over that letter together at a later date, and we could break that letter into smaller proposals for the council for the next Elysium. I think that would be a good way to go. And I'll have to talk to the other Dukes to see whether or not they'll be willing to at least sign enough to put it on the docket. But see what
I understand. Pardon me. I think I'll have to stay at a friend's for the evening. He's looking, and it's probably been like a couple hours since they've been talking and kind of politicking and kind of, verbally sparring. So I'm going to go out on a little bit of an evening out and see about taking care of some of my local members. He just kind of winks and gathers up his things and tosses his jacket over one shoulder. Good evening, sir. Enjoy yourself.
All right. You too, sir. Sir Ashford. And like I said, remember to swing back again. You're going to need a little bit more working on that technique of yours to be able to develop your first level of potence. But anyway, we'll get to that at a later time. All right. Catch you later. And with that, Harry goes back to his work and sees before you head out, Josh. Turns back and sees Cynthia standing there, and goes, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. Pours a glass of blood for Cynthia, and in it is another shiny.
She smiles and just kind of drinks it up and brings up the shiny, cleans it off, and puts it in her pocket, goes back to her corner.
And with that, Harry just goes back about his work, and with that, the scene ends. And